Hello and welcome back. Alright, so here's my next update, working on the cellar. As I mentioned in the last update, I'd be working on doing the grouting and weathering on the cellar walls. So here you see a before and after. So this is the wall as you saw it last time, which is just a plain plaster casted bricks, stones. And here you are after applying mortar and doing some weathering on it. Now you might see a difference between this section and the larger section here. Reason being, this is underneath the stairs, so you're not going to see this part at the end. So I use this as a little test bed. It came out a little bit too light for my intentions as far as stone walls in the basement here. So I went with slightly darker motif here. And the biggest difference between this and this is that I added a little bit more black to the grout that I added and to the weathering, as well as the different order in which I did them. So over here, I'm going to demonstrate how I came to this. All right, so hold on. Okay, so to go from here to here, first what I did, I brushed on lightly a little bit of the Vallejo black pigment, just using a large soft brush as such. And again, it's just a very light amount, and I'm just going to brush it all over. Doesn't have to be even. It's just to give it a little bit more color texture underneath it. I'm just going to brush it and rub it in there. And again, as I mentioned in my other videos, I have a camera here in front of me, so some of this makes it might be a little awkward handling. So apologies, and apologies for having my hand sometimes block the view. Just getting a little bit more. Oops, sorry. Right. I think that's more than enough. All right, so I'm just, whatever is here, I'm going to pick it up and rub it in there. And I'm just trying to get some of this straight black into the nooks and crannies in here. I'll pick up anything that came left over, brush it up in any areas which didn't get any. Now at the moment I'm not using a mask since I'm talking here on camera, but I highly recommend for you to be wearing a mask when dealing with any of these potters, whether it be the pigments, the hydrostone, plaster, sanding, and anything like that. You really do want to protect your lungs and your sinuses from all this stuff. Do a nice good rub. Brush up any excess off. All right, I'm gonna continue doing a bit more brushing off camera, just so you don't have to sit here and watch me do it. All right. All right, so after brushing up the excess of the black pigment, next step is using a little bit of the same Liquitex high gloss that I use on the fireplace to coat the front of the stones before I do the mortaring. So I took some of the Liquitex, I just placed a little bit of it here in the cup, and again using a nice good clean brush, dab it, and like I mentioned with the fireplace, just have it moist, not too much, and then I'm just going to brush it over the bricks, stones here. I keep saying bricks, but these are supposed to be cast stones, as you see there. As you see, it's wet, so which is why you see it getting dry. Also, as we're doing this, it's going to wipe off a little bit more of the black pigment that I put on. Alright, so after I finish applying this, we'll let it dry for an hour or two and then come back with the mortaring. Alright, I'll be back with that. Hello, welcome back. Alright, so we let this chance to dry. So now to put a little bit of grouting mortar in there. Now for that, I made up this mixture. This is part of that hydrostone plaster, part of the black pigment, and part of a dark earth brown pigment to give me this coloration that you see there, which gives me kind of a little bit of a earthy, warm gray color for the mortar. So basically what I'm going to do is just take some of this using the brush and place it in there and rub it in every single little nook and cranny, all those mortar joints that you see there. Okay, so right now I have this board on vertically, so this is going down, letting gravity do work, and I'm going to squeeze all these in here. Now the nature of this is that this is very dusty, so I'm just going to do the rest of this off camera and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so after rubbing in that mortar combination into the bricks and into the joints, what I'm going to do is, using just some paper napkins or a Q-tip or anything like that, get it wet, a little bit of water, and then I am, do this here on camera, yeah, excuse my hand, I'm going to start wiping some of it off. Now since I'm using plaster, the moisture, the water in here is going to also help set the mortar in. So basically that's what I'm going to do for the next few minutes off camera, and just keep rubbing this off to taste. Alright, so I'll be back with that. Alright, welcome back. So here we are. I finished the wiping down the far wall there. You see there of the grout, and hope you can see that. And comparing it to the before and the afters here. So off camera, I'm going to do the same technique on the rest of the wall and the outside. That being putting a little bit of a black pigment and brushing it off on the stonework. Then putting a varnish, letting that dry. Then putting on the mortar that I made up and letting that set. And then wiping it off with a moist paper towel or a Q-tip and so forth. Alright, so I'll be back when all that's completed. Hello and welcome back. Okay, so I finished all the work on the walls, applying the grout and dirtying them up, making them look more like stone. So hopefully the camera can pick some of this up the way that they look now. So my next is going to be working in the kitchen back there. So for the kitchen, what I am going to do, I am using a different mold. I am using a mold called again from Diorama Debris, called the 12-inch Paving Slabs, number 1350013. So these are made to be paving slabs for the ground. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use them as wall covering, kind of like tile. So 12-inch tiles, which I know are kind of big, but just to give the kitchen a little bit of a different look than the rest of the basement and cover up some of the walls. So that's the mold. And again, instead of boring you with the whole casting process, which is just like you've seen before, plaster 2-to-1 with water in the molds, let it set, scrape it, and off they come. And this is what they look like. So I'm just casting them in white. That's how they look like. They fall off pretty simple, just like that. Little chiclets. A nice simple little square, very smooth on one side. The camera can pick that up. They're about 1 millimeter thick, and that's what we're going to use to cover up the wall. So I'll be back as I'm working on that. All right, thank you. Hello and welcome back. So as you see here, started the progress of the tiles here in the kitchen area. The mold that you see here, this gives you 45 tiles, and this is what 45 tiles come out to be once you start laying it on the floor. Now I casted quite a bunch of more additional tiles, so now I shall continue. I'll come back once I get to the windows and I'll show you how I'm handling that. Thank you. Okay, so welcome back. Here on the progress here in the kitchen, tiling up the walls. As you see, the walls are almost completely done. Working on the window areas here at the moment. So here's one window that's already completed with the tile work, and these others are in progress. So just to show you what I did. So I put the tiles, they overlap a little bit the window opening where applicable, and then here in the corner where you have the lintel here. I left those off. I'll address those later. So basically what I did after putting on the tiles there, as you see, I left the middle one there for a reason. Now the big saw that I showed you before, the Exacta one's a little bit too big to put in there, but I have another saw which is from Tamiya. Let's get that focus there. Tamiya, from Tamiya Craft Tools, and it's this saw. It comes in this little kit. This is Tamiya Craft Tools number 111. It is the Handicraft Saw 2, and it comes with two blades, the skinny blade and the other wide blade. And I'm using the skinny blade to cut these smaller areas. So, excuse me, this is maybe a little hard doing it on camera, but basically what I'm doing is just taking the small blade, going in there, and following the edge of the window, just slowly cutting them to size, like that. And again, I'm wearing a mask, not at the moment because I'm on camera, but when I'm doing this for real, I will use a mask. Anyway, so you see there, starting to cut. And I would do the same thing for these tiles here using this saw, and then glue them in place. And then same thing with the middle one. All right, so let me finish that up and I'll be back. Hello and welcome back. All right, so as you see, I have finished the tiling there in the kitchen area. In addition to cutting out the extra tile around the windows with that mini Tamiya saw, I also use a couple of sanding sticks from Florey Models, which you see here. One is of course in black, and this is a final one in blue. Focuses. Focus. There you go. Right. So I use that to just finish off the edges there as well. So next step that I'm going to do is going to be working on the stairs, the bottom basement stairs here in the middle, and I will have that for the next update. Otherwise, this is it for this part of the build. All right. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. All right. Take care. Be safe.